Tonight on Reel to Reel, we'll have part 2 of our reflections on the Virgin Mary.
And look at a work of art dedicated to the birth of our Lord.
We'll take a look at how Simpich angels are made.
And see an assortment of creches from around the world.
Father Tom Legere will be along with another relationships.
And we'll have another moment in history with Father Joseph Glass. Hello, I'm Isabel Gauvery.
And I'm Father Dave McGowan. Welcome to Reel to Reel.
Welcome back. It's good to be with you again in the midst of what we hope will be a joyous holiday season for you all. And welcome back to you too, Father. How was Europe?
It was great, Belle. It was cold and damp, but beautiful.
Well, cold and damp or not, I really envied you going. How are all the plans for the European tour coming along?
They're coming along just fine. We have bits and pieces yet to iron out, but if you'd like to spend 2 exciting weeks traveling through Europe next spring, then grab a paper and pencil, because we're going to have an address for you at the end of the program.
But right now, in case you haven't noticed, we're in the middle of the Christmas season. Only 10 shopping days left, as a matter of fact.
And if you happen to be in Philadelphia, amid all the hustle and bustle, you might want to stroll over to St. John the Evangelist Church at 13th and Chestnut, where a new piece of art has been dedicated to the birth of Jesus.
In downtown Philadelphia, there's no doubt that the holidays are upon us once again. From the hanging lights and garland to the decorated store windows, there are constant reminders to the shopper of the Christmas season. But where are the reminders of the true meaning of Christmas? Well, for that, you have to go around the corner to St. John the Evangelist Church.
We are surrounded by so many Christmas displays which speak of Santa Claus and
On December 5th, Monsignor Charles Devlin, pastor of St. John the Evangelist at 13th and Market Streets, presided over the dedication of the only religious Christmas display in Center City, Philadelphia, a creche depicting the Nativity and the history of man. The creche, which was unveiled by father and son artists Ed and Ted Byrne of Doylestown, is being developed over a 2-year period to be completed by Christmas 1986. The temporary wooden murals will be replaced by sculptured murals now being molded for next year's display. A tape of music and narration, which is played every half hour between 12:30 and 8:30 p.m., enhances the enjoyment and understanding of the creche. Monsignor, as the pastor of St. John the Evangelist, a Center City church, did you feel an obligation to provide the people of Center City with a religious display at Christmas time?
Well, I came to St. John's about 3.5 years ago, and I've just been amazed at the lack of any truly religious dimension to the Christmas celebration. It's filled with commercialism and secularization, and I felt it was time that we try to do something to bring the whole idea of Christmas back to our roots and to the fact that it is a religious holiday.
Making the Christmas display a reality was the work of many people, as Director of Development John Gordon told us.
It started with forming a committee of the business people in the area of Delaware Valley, and it has worked its way down to the many thousands of people who find their way to St. John's. To support this in their presence, in their financial way, which we have a long way to go before the creche is paid for. But it's met with great success and excitement.
People are busy, they're hurrying to get home after a long day's work, and I was truly impressed by the number of people that stayed.
Artist Ed Byrne.
Weather, and seemed to be very much engrossed in the ceremony and in the scene itself. We had to keep in mind the location, the people that would be viewing it, the architectural background, the church that appears as a background to this scene. Creation as an ongoing process. It began, as Monsignor Devlin mentioned, many thousands of generations ago, but it has been going on since that time and is in process today. And the challenge is to lead our lives according to the plan that God has for us, and we're trying to depict that in these murals.
I think it's wonderful. It brings back the true spirit of Christmas, and everything is wonderful. I really enjoy it. It makes me feel good.
I love the parts of the Bible that are displayed. I think that brings the whole story together. It's not just isolated with the nativity scene.
It's a very good experience for everyone, not just one certain group. It's a very good experience to bring everybody together, not only during the holidays, but just in general, bring everyone together, and this is a time for caring and loving.
This is the season for gift giving. The people of St. John the Evangelist Church have given the city of Philadelphia a very special Christmas gift. The next time you're downtown, take a few moments from your hectic schedule to reflect upon the true meaning of Christmas here at St. John's. Happy holidays.
Well, Belle, you certainly had appropriate weather for the unveiling.
We sure did. It was in the first cold snap of the season. I thought the poor cameraman's hands were going to fall off.
Well, we're going to take a step down from the creche at St. John's to something a little more manageable for your home as we take a brief look at creches from around the world. We can see from that short piece the importance of Christmas around the world. And it doesn't matter how the nativity is depicted. What's important is what it means for us.
We're going to take a short break, but coming up we'll have Father Tom Legere, Father Joseph Glass, and a look at how angels are made.
Stay with us.
Next spring, you can be a part of it. The 1986 Reel-to-Reel Tour of Europe. 2 weeks through Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Liechtenstein, and Italy. Hosted by Father Dave McGowan. Mark your calendars for next spring and watch Reel-to-Reel for more details, and be a part of it.
At the Donahue Funeral Home, we're always gratified to hear from the families we serve. Over the years, many bereaved families have told us how much they appreciated the warm, home-like atmosphere of the Donahue Funeral Home. To make such moments perhaps a little less difficult, the Donahue Funeral Home suggests that you discuss with us now, in the privacy of your home, pre-arrangement and the financial advantages and peace of mind it brings. That's what living is all about.
We'd like to thank all of our viewers who took the time to write to us about the specials with Father Tom Legere.
The response was so overwhelming that we're looking into doing it again in the near future. And of course, we'll invite you, our audience, to participate.
If you'd like to be part of the audience for these specials, please write to us and we'll keep you in touch.
And right now, we have Father Legere in our regular relationship segment, and he'll be talking about working with love.
Greetings in the Lord. Who among us has not fantasized about sitting around a poolside doing nothing for the rest of our lives? Or perhaps just playing in a park all day like little children do? The fact of the matter is, however, we would quickly become bored with such a lifestyle. And that is because we were designed to work creatively. Well, if that is the case, then why are so many people bored with their jobs? Why do so many people find their work monotonous? I guess they don't find meaning in it. And this is where spirituality comes in. Because we come to the realization that it's not so important what we do as much as it is that we have the right consciousness when we are doing the work. For example, in cooking a meal, it's important that the person doing the cooking do so with love. In fact, the Hindus have an expression that says, a meal that is cooked without love is poison. There's a lot of truth to that. Whatever we do without love doesn't help anyone. I can think of the example of Brother David Steindl-Rast, who was one of the real spiritual leaders in our church today in America. Well, while he is back in the monastery, he is known there as Brother Cook. And he said that to him there's no contradiction between what he does in his teaching of spirituality and what he does while he is cooking. In fact, he said that for him, he tries to cook a meal with as much reverence as a priest has in saying Mass. He says that for him, the kitchen table that he works on is his altar. I can also think of the father of a friend of mine who spent his entire life carving those pencil grooves in the top of desks. Well, for him, that was not a boring job, because for him, he was always thinking of the little children who would be using those desks. Now, if somebody were making some of the equipment used here in the park, they could do so and think that it was a monotonous job. But if they would one day think that youngsters would be using this equipment, it would give so much more meaning to what they do. And so the important thing for us is not to, quote unquote, go out and find meaningful work, as much as it is to realize that whatever we do, done in the name of God, can be a real act of love and can be Jesus reaching out and touching the world that he loves so very much.
Have you ever wondered how angels are made? No, not the heavenly kind, the earthly kind. Up next, we're going to take a look at the making of the Simpich angels, created by Jan and Bob Simpich, that give an angelic look to your Christmas tree.
Look at the rich but often forgotten religious history of the Delaware Valley. Here's Father Joseph Glass.
Was it a plot or an error? We still ask this question today concerning the nomination of bishops for Newark and Trenton in July of 1881. 9 months earlier, the Archbishop of New York, Cardinal John McCluskey, met with the bishops of the province of New York. They came together to discuss the selection of a new bishop for the Diocese of Newark, which at the time covered the entire state of New Jersey, as well as the possible division of the diocese. This meeting resulted in the bishops recommending to Rome that the southern counties of New Jersey be constituted as the Diocese of Trenton. They then drew up 2 lists of candidates, with Father Michael O'Farrell heading the list for the Diocese of Newark, and Father Winand Wigger first on the list for the new Diocese of Trenton. On July 7, 1881, the consultors of the congregation voted unanimously to divide the Diocese of Newark and to establish the Diocese of Trenton. They then voted on the candidates for the 2 dioceses and nominated Father O'Farrell for Newark and Father Wigger for Trenton. However, 4 days later, when the cardinals met, they ratified the division of the diocese, but voted to name O'Farrell the Bishop of Trenton and Wigger the Bishop of Newark. What happened? Why the switch? There are 2 possibilities. One is that Cardinal Franz Zellen, a German member of the congregation, deliberately switched Wigger, a German-American, to the larger diocese. The second explanation is that the switch was simply the result of a clerical error. Whatever the reasons, the process continued, and the decrees assigning the 2 bishops were issued and letters of nomination sent to them. I'm Father Joe Glass with this moment in history.
We're going to take a break, but coming up we have the second part of our reflections on the Blessed Virgin Mary.
We'll be right back.
Many people find retirement isn't as much fun as they thought it would be. Too much time on their hands, too little to do. The Retired Senior Volunteer Program has thousands of opportunities for retired executives, housewives, engineers, teachers, whatever your skills or schedule. RSVP has something to fit anyone's interests. You can do what you want, when you want to do it, and still enjoy your well-earned retirement.
What's your problem? Let's figure this out.
You've learned a lot in your life. Share the experience of a lifetime.
Charity in Action is a heartwarming sight. In South Jersey, the House of Charity relieves hardship for thousands of men, women, and children. Through its agencies, retarded children receive special education. Medical treatment goes to the poor. Concerned workers care for the elderly. Young people are counseled on drug and alcohol abuse. And the physically handicapped receive training. Support the House of Charity in South Jersey and touch someone's life with love.
Last week we celebrated the Feast of the Immaculate Conception with some reflections on the many titles and images of the Blessed Mother.
This week we'd like to take another look at Our Lady and the Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, with some personal reflections of people whose lives have been touched by the Mother of God.
The warmth and comfort of the Nativity is a welcome sign at Christmas. It is also a reminder of Mary's role in the Church, that of mother, caring and compassionate. Yet she remains humble, always seen presenting her Son to the world. As we learned last week, the bishops of the United States chose to honor Mary, the Immaculate Conception, by naming her patroness of the country. Today, the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, belonging to all Catholics, stands as testimony to that commitment.
So the beauty is one thing, but I think it has also a prayerful atmosphere that brings people to a faith experience when they go to the shrine and spend some time there.
Father Don Layton, who now serves as pastor at St. Patrick's in Norristown, spent 5 years as assistant director of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C.
And then it has a nice element of continuity because it continues. It's a building which is symbolic of the past and points us to the future. See, it allows us to see this is going to go on.
The idea to build the shrine was originally proposed in 1914. Many reel-to-reel viewers may remember contributing to the nationwide fundraising effort.
Bishop Noel and Archbishop Sheehan was very active in it too. Bishop Noel, together with all the bishops, had a campaign to raise money for the shrine, to build the shrine. And all the people then through the United States were asked to externalize, exemplify, or give evidence of their devotion to Mary by making contributions to the shrine. And the money then came through all donations from all the little people.
Father Layton was fortunate to be at the shrine in 1979 for the visit of Pope John Paul II.
Well, the Holy Father's visit was certainly the most exciting event that happened while I was at the shrine. And, say both in the preparations for his coming and also in his visit there. It was just a beautiful, exciting event for everybody who was associated with the shrine. So I can remember standing on the steps and watching the motorcade come down 4th Street and just the excitement building up, and then Holy Father getting out of the limousine and being introduced to him. So he kissed me on both cheeks. I had them bronzed.
The National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception is a spectacular witness to the devotion of American Catholics. Located in Washington, D.C., it's just close enough that you may want to plan a weekend visit there soon. But back here in the Delaware Valley, we would be remiss in doing a story about the Blessed Mother without a visit to the Sisters, servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. The servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary were founded by an American missionary priest, a very determined American missionary priest.
Father Gillet petitioned several bishops for sisters, and at that time, I guess they were having a vocation crisis too. None of the bishops had sisters to give to Father. So Father made a very classic statement saying that if I cannot find any sisters, then I will make sisters.
IHM Vocation Director Sister Mary Susan explained why the order, which is dedicated to the Blessed Mother, focuses on 3 charisms, including love, hope, and fidelity.
Well, I think if you looked back into Scripture, which is the only record really that we have of the Blessed Mother, I think that you would see all 3 of those virtues exemplified in her own life. I remember as a young girl being very much attracted to her, in somewhat of an idealistic way, I suppose. And as I became a religious woman in a community where devotion to the Blessed Mother was certainly encouraged, I found that she became more real to me in the sense of being a real woman and a real person.
It is this real person whom the Church honors and loves today. This real woman who steadfastly leads us in our journeys, always pointing the way to her Son, Jesus.
I think this helps to deepen in my own life, certainly my own love and devotion to her Son. And probably of anything that I could think of, in my devotion to her, I think probably the greatest fruit would be, the greatest grace would be an increase of my love for her Son, for Jesus Christ.
Well, we are coming down to the wire, and with Christmas just 10 days away, you might find yourself frantically running in and out of stores looking for that perfect gift. How you doing, Father? You got all your shopping done?
Pretty much so. I still have a few things to get. But as you're running around here and there on your last-minute shopping, you might want to stop for just a moment and reflect on the true meaning of Christmas, the birth of Christ.
Next week, we'll bring you a special holiday edition of Reel to Reel with children from around the Delaware Valley singing songs of the season.
And we'll have Christmas messages from the bishops of the Delaware Valley.
We'll also follow second grader Kristen Terranova of West Collingswood, New Jersey, as she prepares to play the role of the Blessed Mother in the story of the first Christmas.
Send your comments and suggestions to Reel to Reel, 222 North 17th Street, room 907, Philadelphia, PA 19103, or call during business hours at area code 215-668-9842. So join us next week for our special Christmas program. Good night.
Good night.
And remember, Jesus is Lord.
Travel arrangements for Reel to Reel by Atkinson and Mullen Travel of Media, PA. Phone area 215-565-7070.
Hello, I'm Tim Sears.